Hey guys, Taryn here. So today I'm going to be talking about something that's really personal and really serious for me, and this is going to be very emotional for me at least. So basically some warnings before we begin. I may stutter or stammer over my words. I may be repetitive or have to repeat myself because I said something wrong. I may pause. I may get teary-eyed, or I may cry. It's just because it's not because I'm necessarily sad. It's just because this is a huge part of my life, and now having to look back on it and realize that it's over, it's done with, I survived it. It's really hard actually, and it's just it still feels so surreal to me. So it's just gonna be a little bit difficult. So let's begin. Basically, what this is gonna be about is why the date August 28th is so important to me. So if you guys have seen any of my past videos, you would see I have severe scoliosis. I had a curve of 174 degrees. If you guys don't know what scoliosis is, like I said, it's a curve. So basically, scoliosis is a curvature of the spine. It can result in an S shape or a C shape normally. Mine was a C shape. And I think it was around when I was 14 months old, my parents started to notice that in my side I had an indent, which I actually still have the indent there. I don't think it's as severe as it was back then, no. We went to a couple doctors. The first one was a whack job who said, oh, it's just the way she lay. It's like, no, that's not what it was at all. The second one was way more intelligent and basically told us she has scoliosis. My parents actually knew somewhat what scoliosis was because my dad has slight scoliosis. It has never been too bad where he has needed to get a back brace or anything like that. So he just, goes through his days and deals with it, He gets pain med from the doctor if he needs it, obviously, but he's been fine. So my parents kind of already knew what it was about. My doctors basically told them what it was about in like more depth, I guess, and gave them the training that they needed to be able to take care of me after surgeries. So because of that, it was actually a plus for my family, because usually with these surgeries, it's an overnight thing. You have the surgery, you stay till the next day, so they can monitor you and all that good stuff, and then you get to go home. Where me, I had the surgery, stayed for a few hours, had a popsicle, some ginger ale, puked a few times, and then I got to go home. And that night, I was in my own bed, comfortable as could be, and peaceful. And instead of being around a bunch of crying kids and having to deal with the beeping of my machine. I actually had to do that this last time, for like my last surgery, and that was hell. I'll explain that later on in the video. So basically, yeah, and then, what happened was, when I was 4 years old, I had to get a halo traction. And that screwed 8 screws into my skull. I have 2 little scars here on my forehead. You can't see the rest of them obviously because my hair and all that stuff, but you can see those 2, and that was just basically because the halo traction, what it was supposed to do was it connected to weights, and those weights are supposed to help me straighten up. So with me straighten up, it was a little bit easier to go in and put the rods and everything in. The whole purpose of the halo was to get me as straight as I could be with the curve. So after, like I said, they did the surgery, the rods were put in. These were not permanent rods, these were growth rods, which basically means that every year I have to go back for a lengthening. And that means that the rods would slowly get bigger. Like that. And each time I went back, I always got really excited because I was like, oh my god, I'm going to change, I'm going to be taller. And usually I did end up being a little bit taller, just because like that's what the growth rods did. They helped me grow. The rest of my body was growing fine, but with my back the way it was, obviously my spine wouldn't grow normally. So that's why they did the whole rod thing. Also, they did the rods because my curve was so severe that if I hadn't had the surgery or anything, it would have cut off most of my organs and I would have died. So, I'm sorry for putting that so bluntly, but that's literally what would have happened. So yeah, for every year for about 10 years, I had to go back and have that happen. I would come back the same day, I would sleep, and the thing that always irritated me the most was the bandage. So I had this big bandage over my back and everything, and what irritated me the most wasn't having it there, it was when it got itchy. It was so hard to itch around that thing, and I would literally start pulling like some of the ends off of it because it was itching so much. Because obviously it was good that it was itchy because that meant it was healing. But I got so annoyed with it, and I was like, ugh, really? Like, you gotta do this to me? So I'd spend so much time trying to reach around and itch my back, and it was like, wow. And then also it didn't really hurt that much when my mom took off the bandage, but it did hurt a little bit. My dad couldn't because he doesn't like the sight of blood. And obviously, on the bandage and stuff, there's going to be blood. he didn't, like, if my mom needed help, he was there to help her. But otherwise, if she was okay doing it on her own, she would do it, and he would just basically be there for moral support for me. He'd, like, hold my hand and tell me, it's okay, we got this type thing. Because although it doesn't sound like it hurt that bad, having a big old bandage on your back when you're that age, yeah, that's some pain right there, buddy. So like I said, 10 years later, I am going for my last surgery. So this is when I was around 13. I was 13, I was going through the surgery. So basically the 27th, I went down with my dad and we got pre-op done. And pre-op is where you get x-rays and all that good stuff done. Like, they usually do that before your surgery, but because this is such a big surgery, they want me to go down and do it the day before. So that's what we did. Well, my mom and dad actually saved us some money because all four of us, so my parents, me, and my brother, wanted to go down for my last surgery because obviously, like, it was my last one. It was our little celebration type thing. Well, they actually had gone down with me for, like, all of them too. Like, all of my surgeries, all four of us were there together. Well, my mom and dad had saved money, like I said, but it wasn't enough. So we had checked prices for, like, hotels and stuff, and then we checked back, and apparently they'd raised their prices, and we tried getting help from the state or somebody like that, and it didn't work in our favor. So basically, we needed a hotel room, obviously, for us to stay the night before my surgery, but after that, a parent and I would be staying at the hospital for me to recover. I think they said we had to stay for at least, like, I don't know, a couple days, the most, like, a week is what we'd have to stay there for. So we needed a hotel room for a parent and my brother to go stay at night because obviously hospitals don't allow visitors at night. They allow them during the day. So during the day, all four of us would be able to hang out at the hospital. But after that, me and a parent would be staying there, and the other parent, my brother, would need somewhere to go. That type of thing. Well, we couldn't get that. They wouldn't pay for a parent and my brother to stay somewhere, so all four of us could be there during my last surgery. And with the hotel prices going up and up, we didn't have the funds to be able to do that and afford food and everything. So, we had saved out a lot of money, but in a big city like Boston, it's really hard to have enough for all that, Where we live, that'd be fine, but, like, in a big city like that, it's much more expensive, so it wasn't enough. So, unfortunately, it was just me and my dad. And my dad was the one who went with me because he's the driver. He has to take me places. So, two of us went down, got the pre-op done. We actually went to McDonald's for breakfast, and I was so excited. I was like, yes, McDonald's! So, we ate out sometimes, but, like, I was just really pumped. Because there's, like, a food court down there that we went to when I was younger. And I hadn't really gone there much, obviously, because I was, like, in the hospital. Like, I wasn't really allowed out that much unless it was, like, they have, like, a little garden there, which is really cute. I was allowed out there to get some fresh air. So we went to the food court. It was really cool. They have, like, a bunch of different stores there. They have, like, McDonald's, and I don't remember what other stores they have, but they have, like, other ones like that, basically. You can go there and get food. I think they have a pizza place, like, that kind of good stuff. And I don't know if it's still there. I hope it is, but I don't know if it is. We went down in, like, 2013, so it could have changed by now. It's been, like, 4 years. So basically, we got some food and stuff, and one part I can't forget that I thought was hilarious. We were sitting out there, eating and stuff like that, just enjoying the weather, and we got this game from Big Time Rush. It was called Honk Bonk. So every time you hear somebody honk, you punch the other person in the arm, and you're like, honk bonk. And my dad and I used to do that a lot, and it was, like, a lot of fun. But we were actually on the phone with my mom, and she was like, you guys are going to give each other bruises by doing that? And we're like, nah, we're good. And it was just a lot of fun, and I wish my brother was there, because me and him do, like, the whole punch buggy thing, and it was, like, I don't know, it was, like, a game for us. We used to love doing that, and we still do it sometimes now. And I wish he was there so I could punch him in the arm, do the honk bonk thing with him, because that would have been hilarious. But yeah, and then that night, I think we got McDonald's again. And I think we were eating, like, cheeseburgers, something like that for dinner. We're talking to my mom on the phone. And obviously, like, I was freaking out about it. I was like, I do not want to go through this. I can't do this. And they were giving me encouragement, like, you can do this. You got this. Just saying this is your last one. You don't have to do it ever again. And all that. And my dad and I ended up falling asleep. I had to get up, like, 5, 6 in the morning. And because my surgery was at, like, 7:30. Well, for some reason, the hotel is giving us issues because when the state had helped us to put me and my dad in a hotel room for that one night, they had apparently put it through my mom's name. And since my mom wasn't there, they're giving us problems because they wanted her to basically sign us out. And obviously with her being back where we live, like, they couldn't do that, you know? Or she couldn't do that, you know? Like, we're 4 hours away. I'm pretty sure she can't get there. So we had some issues. They called my mom. My mom called, like, whoever helped us get the room, and they helped us figure all that good stuff out. So I actually had to go out and tell the taxi drivers. Taxi driver was waiting for us. I had to tell them they're giving us some issues with the hotel. You know, you have to give us some time. You know, we can't get out here right now. And the guy was like so chill about it. He was like, yeah, no problem. You like go ahead. You know, I can wait, type thing. And I was so grateful for him being so like kind to us and everything. And we ended up figuring it out. We rushed to the hospital. We got there. They got me my Johnny, and I call it. It's actually just like one of those gowns they give you. I call it Johnny because that's what I grew up calling it. So yeah, I put that on, and growing up, they had always given me the little cup of anesthesia. Like I always call it sleepy medicine. That's what we always call it. It was sleepy medicine. So they'd give me that, and I'd drink it. I'd get sleepy. And then, like, I always had this issue for some reason. I did not like needles, including IVs. So they had to put the IV in my foot when I was younger. Otherwise, they were afraid. Because I think there was once they actually, like, put it in my hand. And, like, I saw it, and I was freaked out. I tried to rip it out. Yeah, that was great. I was, like, young, so obviously, like, okay, that's my excuse. I was young, you know? So this time, it was a little bit different. So, like, right in here where you usually get, like, your needles, like, your shots and stuff, that's where they put it. And the guy basically told me, okay, you're going to hear a little pop, almost like when you're opening, like, a soda can, that kind of pop. And I was like, okay. My dad held my other hand, and we did it. And it actually did sound like the guy said it did. It was all good. They started putting anesthesia through it and all that good stuff. And then they put the mask on me, and it, like, had some anesthesia in it. And I don't know, it's really weird for me. I have this issue where, like, certain cleaning products and stuff like that they use at school and stuff, it reminds me greatly of anesthesia. Just the smell of it. It's so potent and everything, I just can't get it out of my nose. So I told my dad I felt bad because at the time I couldn't really remember telling him I love you. But according to him, as they were rolling me down the hallway, that's all I kept screaming was I love you to him. So that just shows I really love my family. And the last thing I remember actually seeing before I, like, passed out was, it was a white room. So, like, those books and everything where they talk about, like, oh, the white rooms, they're not exaggerating. That's literally what it is. And I think it's just because, like, white and everything is a little bit more sterile. And when you're in surgery, obviously, that's what you need. You don't need an infection. So that's what I saw. And then I saw, like, a machine and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure that was, like, some kind of machine for, like, my heart rate or something. I don't know. I just remember seeing a machine. I don't remember seeing, like, what was on it or anything. And then I, like, passed out. Well, when I woke up, there's, like, the nurse and stuff there. Well, I was sliding on the bed a little bit, apparently, and I basically muttered something about, like, I wanted to, like, get back up. Like, I was trying to push myself back up. And then she's like, oh, don't worry about it, sweetie. I'll help you in just a second. And she, like, finished it. She went to come over, and here I was. She literally saw me as shove my feet on the bed and just shove myself up. She's like, oh, my God, don't do that. You're gonna hurt yourself. I was like, nah, dude, I got this, you know. Like, I used to do that when I was younger, too. Like, I knew what to do that wouldn't hurt my back. Like, something like that, I knew how to do it in a way that I wouldn't hurt myself or make matters worse, you know? So that's what I did. And the nurse was, like, freaking out about it. Well, according to my dad, he actually told me, basically, the surgery was supposed to take 8 hours. But it only took 4. Because apparently the bottom half of my back, where, like, my lumbars and stuff are, that part had actually fused itself. So the doctor only had to fuse the top part of my back. So it's actually kind of funny. It's not funny. It's really sweet, though. My dad told me he got a call from the doctor, and the doctor was like, okay, she's had surgery and everything. My dad, and, like, he wanted to meet with my dad. My dad flipped. Like, he wasn't mean to the doctor or anything. He was like, okay, I'll be there. Close the phone, like, shut off the phone or whatever. He flipped out. He thought something was wrong. He thought something went wrong with the surgery. He sprinted to the doctor. Like, he sprinted through that hospital and everything just to find that doctor's office. And I thought it was so sweet because, like, my dad, like, obviously, like, not really, like, a huge runner. Like, he'd run around with us and stuff, but he had never, like, really sprinted like that. He told me he full-on sprinted through that hospital, like, didn't even think about it, just full-on sprinted to the hospital, got to, like, where the doctor was, and, like, was like, what's wrong, what's going on, you know? And the doctor was like, oh, no, you know, everything's fine. It's just the bottom of her spine fused itself, so I only had to fuse the top part. That's why it didn't take as long. And my dad was so relieved. And I can't help but kind of smile a little bit because that's so sweet. You know, when you have somebody like that cares about you that much, where they're literally willing to sprint through the hospital for you, it means a lot. And especially because my dad, like, he wasn't exactly like the super athletic type. Like, I mean, like I said, he ran around with us and stuff, but I'd never really seen him sprint like that. So to actually hear about him full on sprinting through the hospital to see his little girl, make sure she was okay, that's like a heartwarming story. That's like the kind of stuff you see online all the time, and that just meant a lot to me. And it just proved that, like, he cared about me a lot, and, like, obviously I already knew it, but hearing that just, like, warmed my heart. It made me really happy and, like, all that good stuff. So my dad actually came in. Apparently he hugged the nurse and was telling them thank you and stuff, and, like, one of the nurses told him about how I did that, where I pushed myself up my own, and he was like, yeah, that's fine, because my parents knew I was stubborn growing up. I still am stubborn, actually. And, like, I didn't want help. Like, I got this, like, let me do it. And, like I said, I always knew how to do stuff where it wouldn't hurt my back. Like, I knew how to do it in a way where it was comfortable and where it wasn't actually hurting me. So yeah. Well, the doctor actually said I was supposed to stay there for a week. So this happened, like, on a Wednesday. So this is the 28th, and that's when I had my last surgery. So right there, the 28th of August is such an important date to me because that was the date of my last surgery. I haven't had a surgery in 4 years. Today is actually the day. This is the 4-year anniversary of my surgery. So 8/28/13, I had my last surgery on my spine. The last one, I had the permanent rods put in. It was fused. There was wires, screws, bone chips, all that good stuff in there. And that's it. That was all. That's the last time I had to have a surgery for my spine. And it's, like I said, it's really hard to think about. It's like, holy crap, and it's just a lot to actually handle, because after all those years of going through it every single year, being told, okay, well, here's the date of your next surgery, okay, and then, like, a month before, I started getting nervous about it, and we would sit there for hours and hours on end just talking about it. Okay, here's what's gonna happen, here's, like, how we're gonna do things, it's gonna be okay. And we would go over how, like, things are gonna go down 15 times, and still, when I went down, I was still scared. Like, I knew what was gonna happen. Like, my parents never lied to me. They never told me, oh, hey, we're going for ice cream, when actually we're going for a surgery. They were straight up honest with me. They're like, okay, here's what's happening, here's how they're gonna do it, and here's when we're going down. They told me everything straight out. And so it wasn't like, I wasn't scared because they hadn't told me everything. I was scared because, like, it was a big deal. These procedures were big deals. Obviously, the last one was the biggest procedure, is the biggest deal. But, like, these other ones, with me being so young and having to go through it, it was obviously a lot for me to handle. And it was a lot to actually, like, think about. Like, thinking about it, like, okay, no problem. But actually having to do it was harder for me. And it was harder for me to be like, okay, yeah, I'm Miss Big, Bad, and Tough, like, I can do this. It was, like, more like, I'm weak and I don't want to do this anymore, And I knew I had to go through it. It was the only way that I was going to fully recover and, like, live, So I knew I had to do it. It's just I was too scared. But I got it done, It was good. Well, something I'm so proud of, actually. So with this kind of procedure, it is a big procedure. Usually they have patients stay there at the least a couple of days, but usually they have them stay for at least a week. So I was told that I would have to stay there until at least Tuesday, because it was a Wednesday that it happened. So they told me, okay, at least Tuesday, because I think Monday was some kind of holiday or something. And I was like, oh, okay, like, I didn't really want to, but we did. Well, they told me too, they're like, well, how early can I get out? They told me, okay, like, probably Tuesday. And then they were like, well, it depends. You might be able to get out Friday or Saturday. And I was like, okay. Well, I wasn't expecting that. We were expecting to stay until Tuesday. Well, the next day, I got out of bed and everything. My dad helped me comb my hair. We actually walked around, and actually, I kind of walked around. We walked around in circles in the hospital on the floor I was on. I don't know what floor I was on, but I was, like, on one of the higher floors. we were like walking around in circles and stuff, and I walked around like a pregnant lady. So I basically had my hands on my back like this, you know, just kind of leaning back. But it was like that's how I was comfortable walking at the time, because obviously like, the day after a big procedure, my back was still really stiff and everything. So it was like more comfortable for me to do it that way, but I was actually walking around perfectly fine and everything, you know. And we went back into my room and everything, and the doctor came in, was talking to us, and basically told us, from what it looks like she's fine, you know, everything's normal with her. She can walk around and everything good. She can go home. And my dad and I just stopped, and we were just like looking at him. We were like, what? And he was like, yeah, you can go home. And he told my dad and I straight out, we have had grown adults who have had the same procedure, and they have had to stay pretty much the entire week. They have not been able to get out early like you have. And the doctor told me I set a record. And I can't help but smile when I think about that. It's amazing. Like, me of all people, I set a record. Like, what? And it's just because usually, like, the latest they'll get out is like a couple days after. I got out, I had the surgery on Wednesday. I got out Thursday. I got out the very next day. And with a big procedure like that, people never do that, you know, like, you need time to recover. For me, I was fine. Like, they let me out the very next day, and it was amazing. Well, I don't remember his name, but I had this nurse, and he was really, really nice. I had him when I was younger, too, and he remembered me, and he always called me a rock star, you know, like, that was his thing, like, oh, you're a rock star, and, like, that word will always mean something to me, because of him. He was always so sweet, and he had a really good bedside manner, and he knew how to make a kid feel good, you know, like, he knew how to bring them up. Like, obviously, like, oh, I just had a surgery, and like, hey, you're a rock star, you know, you got this, and was like really kind when checking their vitals and all that good stuff. And I was just like, yeah, you know, I am a rock star, I'm pretty awesome, you know. And it really brought you up. Well, then we actually called my mom, and we were talking to her and stuff like that. And we made up the excuse. We didn't want my mom to know I was coming home that day. We told her, oh yeah, we got to go to physical therapy. And we even got, like, we had this woman, like, nurse too. And she was, like, in there basically, like, helping us, like, sign out, like, paperwork and stuff, basically helping us sign out. Well, this other guy, like, both of them, both the, like, guy nurse called me a rock star, and this other nurse were both in on it. So basically, like, they're like, yeah, you know, like, she's going to physical therapy. And we actually had, like, her talk to, like, I think the guy nurse for a minute. Well, my dad was helping me. He was helping me get dressed and everything. And he was like, yeah, they're going to physical therapy and stuff like that. And we're like, yeah, you know, and we'll call you after physical therapy. And my mom was like, okay, you know, be careful, have fun, and miss you, love you, that kind of thing. And it was so funny because we even got the nurses in on it. We tricked my mom into thinking we were going to physical therapy, when actually my dad was combing my hair, getting me dressed, because we were going home. Like, we're packing up, we were on our way home, we were pumped. Well, obviously, like, I can't leave the hospital walking, it's just, like, hospital rules or something, so they wheeled me out in a wheelchair, which actually those pillows they gave us, oh my god, those pillows are so comfortable. I don't know where they get them, but, like, hit me up, dude, I need some of those. Actually, I think I have a pillow in there, and it's, like, flat. I wonder where I got that one, though. I don't know. Well, I need to go back there and get some of their pillows. Their pillows are fluffy and comfortable, man. But yeah, so that's what we did, and then we went home, and they gave me some ice packs and stuff. Basically, like, it kind of crushed them up, and then it, like, makes them cold. And they gave me, like, obviously, they gave me a couple pillows to, like, sit in, or sit on, sit on, and, like, have one to sit on, have one to, like, behind my back to keep me comfortable and stuff in the car. And my dad was telling me he was getting dirty looks from people as he was driving down the highway. So we were listening to the radio and everything. Like, I was, like, half asleep, because they gave me, like, medicine and everything like that. So I was, like, you know, drowsy. I was, like, sleeping on the anesthesia, sleeping off the medicine they gave me, and I was, like, out of it. Well, apparently, we had, like, the radio on. I think it was, like, C97. And he was, like, jamming on, you know, smiling, just, like, pumped, and jumping all around his seat, dancing around, and, like, people going by were just, like... And he was like, yeah, I'm good, you know, like, he was so pumped, and it was just, made me really happy. And then me and my dad were talking, because, like, towards the end of, like, us coming up, it's like a 4-hour drive there, okay? And so we're, like, on halfway home or so, you know, I start to wake up a little bit, and my dad basically tells me, I think, because they gave us some snacks, I know they gave us, like, a couple of those, like, mini little ginger ale things, and I think they gave me some, like, graham crackers and stuff, so I was, like, munching that kind of stuff, because after like anesthesia and stuff like that, you want just stuff like that to munch on. That way it helps settle your tummy a little bit. So I was like munch on some of that, you know, just listening to the radio, staring out the window, all that kind of stuff. And my dad and I were talking, and he was like, okay, so when we go home, I'm gonna pull up to the porch. Okay, and I was like, okay. And he's like, I'm gonna beep the horn so mom will hear us. So I was like, okay. And he was like, oh, I'm gonna roll down your window for you and want you to look out and say, hey, is Taryn here? And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, just do that, okay? And I was like, alright. So we got home and everything. My mom at the time, I think, was like folding laundry or something. And we like pulled up, we honked the horn, and my mom like comes out and she's like, what? And I was like, hey, is Taryn here? And she's like, oh my god, she started flipping out. It was really cute. She started crying, and I like started crying with her a little bit. And she helped me out, and we came inside and everything. And actually, she made this banner out of construction paper and markers. She handmade it, a banner that said "Welcome Home." And she hung it, like it was already hung up and everything. It was waiting for us for when we got home. And I saw it, and I was just like so emotional. Like that was so amazing, you know. And to this day, I believe I still actually have that banner. I won't get rid of it. And when I get my own house, I'm hanging that up in my room because that's my memorabilia right there. That just meant a lot to me, and it was just amazing, you know. And I can't get over it. My mom was so happy to see us. She made us a banner and everything, and it was so cute, and I won't get rid of it. I don't care if it rips or whatever. I'm not getting rid of it. Actually, something that was really cute too was after, like, I slept and everything. They got my medicine from the store. They figured it out because like the store was being like cranky about it because it came from Boston. So they were being cranky, but we figured it out. And then like my mom was like, okay, well, can you go in and like get me something? I don't remember what she said, but she wanted my brother to go into like the bedroom and get something for her. And he was like, okay, sure, whatever, you know. So he went in, and he jumped so high when he saw me. His head almost hit the ceiling, I swear to God. And he screeched so loudly, he came rushing over and gave me a big hug when he saw me laying there. Like, I was, like, trying to stay awake for him. I was, like, tired, obviously. He was so excited to see me home, and it just meant the world to me. I was, like, that was something I can't forget. It was how excited he got that I was home. I was, like, oh, my gosh. And yeah, and like I mean, all of that sounds great, and I know it does. Like the whole story, like some of it sounds stressful, some of it sounds great. For like the last time I went down, but it's just the fact that it was the last surgery, you know, and I had to go through that, and to know like I didn't have to go back after that, it's a lot, you know, and to know that I will never have to go down there again unless it's to visit them or unless it's for like a checkup or something, and I don't have to have surgery again. It means a lot to me, you know, and people aren't going to understand that. They're not going to understand what it took to be able to power through all of that. They're not going to understand that going through something this severe, it really affects you, you know, and it it can affect you physically, obviously, but it also affects you mentally. When we came home, I actually, like, I was more comfortable on the couch, I think, after that, so I, like, laid on the couch and watched TV and stuff, and I fell asleep. I had a dream, and I don't know why, I can't forget this dream. I had a dream where basically, like, my parents were talking to me, my mom and dad, you know, they're talking to me, and they're like, you need another surgery, and I was like, what are you talking about? I thought you said that's all the surgeries I needed. And they're like, well, you need a surgery on your stomach. There's something wrong with it. They have to do surgery. And in the dream, I was like freaking out. I was like, no, you told me that was the last surgery. I don't need any more. I don't have to have this surgery. And they're like, yeah, you do. I'm sorry, you know. And I woke up and I remember crying. And I remember I got up and I stumbled into the kitchen. 'Cause the living room is like right there next to the kitchen. So I stumbled in the kitchen and I had like a big tumbler cup full of like, I think it was just Kool-Aid. I think it was like fruit punch or something. It was Kool-Aid anyway, and I went to actually, like, get a drink of it, and I set it back down, and I went to do something else, and I accidentally, like, knocked it over, and it went everywhere. It went all over the table, and it actually started spilling onto the floor, so I had to, like, pick it up quick, move, if there's, like, any phones or anything on the table, I had to move them, and I remember I was, like, on the floor trying to clean it up. I don't know why I didn't just use a mop, but I think I used, like, paper towel or something. I was on the floor, like, cleaning it up, because I felt bad. Like, my parents weren't awake, they were, like, sleeping, and I'm sure, like, if they were awake, they would have told me don't worry about it, because I just had surgery and everything, but I was, like, so determined to actually just, like, get it clean. And I remember I was watching Danny Phantom at the time. It was, like, 5 a.m. I was watching Danny Phantom, and I remember I was just bawling. I don't know why I was crying, but I was just bawling as I was cleaning up Kool-Aid I spilled. I was like, oh, my God. I don't know why I can't. And then I remember there's once I was taking a shower, and I was like sitting down in the shower. I had a metal chair in the shower with me, and I was like washing my hair or something, just letting the hot water run over me, let it relax me, and I just was staring at the wall and like in the shower, just staring at the shower wall, and I was having a flashback of some stuff that happened during the time that like I was down there this last time. I was having flashbacks about it, and it was like really freaky. My parents know about all this. I told them like after it happened and everything, and they've been very supportive with me. Even 4 years later, they understand that sometimes this stuff will happen. I'll sometimes have nightmares or dreams about my back. Sometimes I'll be doing something and like something will trigger me to think about it, or like I'll have a flashback or something, and my parents are really good about helping me with that. They understand. They let me talk to them for hours on end about it. They give me hugs if I want, like, and they hold me if I need to cry or something. Like, they're really good about helping me through all that. And they still are, like I said, they really are good. And even my brother, he's there if I need him. I've come in here like into his room and I've bothered him so many nights about his stuff, and he just sits there and he'll listen to me. I mean, he jokes and he's like, oh, I'm like too tired and stuff like that, but like if I seriously need him, he's there, and he like listens to me for hours on end. He helps me feel better about a lot of stuff. Cause I went to New York City this past April, and I was nervous about going now, so I was like talking to him about it, and he was like so kind and helping me feel better about it and stuff like that, and he also helps a lot. He was there throughout everything. He knows all about my surgeries, and he's very protective of me. I've gotten my heart broken a couple times this year, and he's asked my mom where these guys live. I just want to talk to him. Yeah, just talk, okay. He's been really good, and he's very protective. He's always there for me, and he also knows my boundaries. So if I tend to forget them, he's like, can't do that, He's really good. My family has just been really good about helping me through stuff, and it just means a lot to me, because growing up having this stuff happen, it's really hard to be able to sit down and tell somebody. Hold on, guys. Okay, hi guys, I'm back. Sorry for changing scenery. We got a phone call, and yeah, so I'm back. Anyway, yeah, I don't remember where I left off, but it's just, like I said, growing up, it's really hard to be able to sit down and explain to somebody, okay, here's what I'm going through, here's what it feels like, and all that stuff. It's like, people aren't going to understand what it feels like because they didn't go through it. They're just hearing about it. They weren't even there with me when it happened. I mean, my parents, my brother, they understand what it feels like to go through this kind of stuff because they were there for me through it all. Like, they were at the hospital, and they knew like what I was going through. They knew the pain I was in. They had to deal with me after the surgeries. They understand, where people my age aren't going to, because they've lived normal lives, like they've gotten to just be carefree, where on the day where I'm having surgery, they get to go rafting or whatever. That actually happened to me. I had actually that day, my last surgery, it was the first day of my 8th grade year. It was first day of school, and I was having a surgery while everybody else was off at school and playing games and all that good stuff. So that was nice. But like, it's so hard for people to understand, and I guess it's hard for me to kind of understand that they aren't going to get it like I do, and I want people to understand, like, yeah, this is what happened to me, but I'm still the same, because people act like I'm so much different than I am, and it's so frustrating. Like, they don't understand. Like, they're like, oh yeah, I understand. They don't understand at all. They don't understand what I go through on a daily basis. They don't know the dreams, the flashbacks. They don't know what I have every day. They don't know what I suffer through. They don't understand the pain. They don't get it. They just don't understand that going through this isn't just physical, it's also mental, and I wish they would just get it. I wish they would just understand for once, I wish they would be able to be like, okay, well, that's understandable, instead of being like, oh, I don't get it, or oh, wasn't that bad, you know. And it's just, try going through this yourself and tell me it's not that bad, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be mean, but that's just, it's hard. And there's something that's been really bugging me is like when somebody I know goes to give me a hug or something. Hold on. Like they go to give me a hug or something, and instead of like giving me like a big ol' hug like you normally would, they literally go like this. Look, I'm not fragile. I'm not made of glass. You do not need to be afraid to touch me. I'm not gonna fall apart when you poke me, you know? Like, I am human. I am like you. I'm not anything special, really. I'm not. I'm normal. As normal gets, you know? I have my limitations. I can't do stuff that other people do. I can't go play sports and all that stuff because of my back. Because people don't seem to realize if I land the wrong way, I have more of a chance of getting paralyzed than they do because of my back problems. But just because I have my limitations doesn't mean I'm not different than them. Everybody has their limitations. They have things they can't do, so do I. And just because I have limitations does not mean I am made of glass. It does not mean I'm going to shatter when you touch me. It does not mean that you need to be afraid to give me a big hug. If you are squeezing me too tight, I will tell you if you're hurting me. Otherwise, squeeze me. Give me big hugs. Treat me like you would anybody else. I am not fragile. I am not made of glass. These bones are just like yours. And there's nothing abnormal about me. I am just like you. I just had to go through more in my childhood. That's it. So why is it so hard for people to just treat me normally? Why is it so hard for them to just hug me and give me big hugs and treat me like I'm a normal human being? Why do they have to act like I'm so fragile and like I'm just gonna fall apart at the seams at any moment? You know, like, why do they have to do that? And then, like, they get, people get mad at me because I tell them I have my limitations. So I've literally had friends stop inviting me to go places because they asked me once, they went to a quarry hole to go swimming, and they asked me if I wanted to go with them. And when I told them I couldn't because for one, I didn't want to, because if I'm swimming somewhere and I can't feel the bottom, it freaks me out. I don't like things like that. And also because they literally had to jump off of a cliff to get into it. And if I land the wrong way, like I said before, I am more at risk of being paralyzed than they are. And I do not feel like taking that risk at that moment. You know what I mean? Like, I prefer to stay not paralyzed, maybe. You know, I prefer to be able to walk. And they don't understand. They feel like, oh, she's just making up excuses. She's using that as an excuse. And I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to explain why I can't do things like you. And it's like they just don't understand. And because I told them no once, after that, they won't invite me to go anywhere. Like, I literally have friends who are like, oh, well, she says no all the time. And instead of trying to understand where I'm coming from and why I can't do what they are, they just stop inviting me and stop including me. And that hurts more than anything, to have people stop including you literally just because you have something going on with your spine. I'm sorry, maybe if you had scoliosis or something like that, maybe you would understand, but because you don't, you're not going to, and you're not going to see my point. You're not going to see my side of it. You're going to see yours and how you're so upset because I can't do this stuff. Well, maybe look and see that I'm not trying to disinclude myself. I'm trying to stay included. I'm trying to participate, but I can't with some of the activities you choose to do. You know? And then it just irritates me too, because for some reason, I don't know why it irritates me, people are always like, oh, my back hurts so much. Like, if you were an older person, like, you're an elder, like, I can understand that. Like, you've gone through a lot, you know, you have, like, issues. But people my age, unless they previously have some kind of, like, back issue, why are you complaining so often that your back hurts? Like, exercise, do something, you know, like, stop being so lazy, maybe it wouldn't hurt. I don't know what to tell you. But then when I tell people, I look at them and I'm like, oh yeah, mine hurts too. They're like, oh, it shouldn't hurt as much as mine does. Like, excuse you, I'm sorry, but, like, really? 10 years of surgeries, 11 surgeries later, here I am, and you're gonna tell me I shouldn't be having back pain? Excuse you? And then trying to say that your back pain is worse than mine, honey, step off, because my back pain is 10 times worse. I suffer through back pain every single day. I get twinges in my back. I literally have times I'm sitting there talking to my parents, and like I just go like that and I twinge because of what I've been through. And that, like, actually, don't be alarmed. That's actually pretty normal for me. My doctor even said that it's normal for me to get little twinges. So, like, you know, like, that's normal. That's like my normal life, and you're complaining about it. Like, dude, slow your roll. Be grateful you didn't go through what I did. You know what I mean? And it just makes me angry because I feel like people are just so ungrateful, you know, and it frustrates me to no end. Like, you should be grateful that you didn't have to go through half the crap that other people like me have to. You get to live a normal childhood. Like, yeah, my childhood was normal, no doubt. You know, I did all the normal childhood things. Like, I went and played in the dirt. I rode my bike. I did that kind of junk, you know. But they didn't have to deal with the recovery process. They didn't have to deal with having to go have a surgery done and then recover for the next month. You know, like, they didn't have to do any of that. So, I don't understand why they act like my back pain isn't as bad as theirs, because I'm sorry, it's worse. And it frustrates me so much when people act like that. It's just, no. You know? And then, something that's always frustrated me is I get a new friend. I tell that friend about my back problems because I feel like that's one of the first things they should know about me. My back problems are who I am. My scoliosis is me. I am my scoliosis. This is never going to change. I'm always going to have it. And I feel like if I become friends with somebody, they deserve to know that. That way they know my limitations and they know, okay, she's not saying no, she can't hang out because she don't want to. She's saying she can't because she can't do what I'm trying to do for an activity type thing, you know? And it just sometimes it frustrates me sometimes because I tell people, okay, well, here's what I went through. I explain everything to them like I did you guys. And then they treat me differently. You know, like, they treat me like a child almost. They act differently around me instead of being like the joking type. They're more the like, oh, it's okay. You know, like, no, I don't want to be treated differently. I don't want sympathy. I went through what I went through, yes, and like, I want sympathy from my parents sometimes when I go up and bug them and be like, yo, can you rub my back quick? It hurts. And like, they do it, no problem. But I don't want sympathy from other people. I don't want them feeling bad for me. I don't want to be seen as the girl who needs the sympathy, you know? Like, I don't want to be seen as different. I am normal as I'm going to be. I don't want people to continue saying, like, I'm not normal, or I don't want them to treat me differently. I don't want your sympathy. Saying, oh, I'm sorry that happened. No, that's good enough. Like, I don't need all your sympathy. Treat me like a normal person. Treat me like you would your other friends. You know, like, treat me normal. I am trying to be a normal person, and people like you who don't treat me normally are the reason why I can't be that. And it bothers me so much. That's not helping me. Maybe other people want the sympathy, yes, but if I tell you stop giving me the sympathy, you should stop it because I asked. Not continue doing it because you feel like that's what's right. Because no, I don't want sympathy. I want to be treated like I'm normal. Because you know what? I am normal. So my back doesn't look like everybody else's. So I have my limitations, so what? Everybody has limitations. Everybody has things they can't do for some reason. Maybe they're just not good at it. Maybe some people can't do gymnastics. Maybe it's because they're not good at it. Maybe it's because they injured their leg or foot or whatever. You know, and now they can't do it for some reason. Everybody has limitations. Everybody has things they can't do. So what makes me so different? What makes people think that they have to treat me differently? I will never understand that, and I will continue to fight people who try to treat me differently because I am not different than you or anybody else. I am just like you. I am a teenage girl who's emotional, who stresses about school, who wishes she has a boyfriend. I'm just like you. The only difference? I have more back pain. I have a scar that runs down my entire back. And I have a story to tell people. But what makes me so different? You know, and I don't get it, and I don't think I ever will. But I don't know. I guess I'll just have to keep living as normal as I can, and the people who care about me will see that I'm normal, and that I'm not that different than everybody else. Like, yeah, I've gone through a lot But that just makes me more mature. That makes me appreciate the world and life itself more. I appreciate things, and I see things more in depth. I see the beauty of things where other people see the ugly, and I guess it just makes me more of a sensitive person. I guess it makes me see things that other people wouldn't, and I guess I like that. And I guess I'm gonna continue to be different. Being different isn't bad, but I also want to be normal. I want to be seen as a normal teenage girl, not the girl who went through the surgeries, or the girl with scoliosis. Like, yeah, I have scoliosis. That is me. I understand that, but that's not all there is to me. I do have a big heart. I have a mouth I sometimes can't control, and I have a family that I'll always love forever. But I guess I just don't see how some people can see me so differently. Sometimes I guess I don't understand why they feel the need to treat me differently. So, yeah, but I guess the good thing that's come out of everything is that I've become a stronger person. I have overcome obstacles that I never thought I would. I never thought I'd be able to make it through anything like this. I never thought I'd be able to make it through some of the things that I have already, and I've overcome them easily. And the fact that just going through this made me see my strength, and made me see that although I'm different, I'm still beautiful. It means a lot. And having my family there for me, I was talking to my mom earlier about this kind of stuff, and she told me straight out, because I told her I was looking at my back in the mirror last night, and you could see it's different. One side of my back kind of sticks out a little bit more than the other. It's kind of like that. And she looked at me and she was like, "We don't see that. We see you as normal." And I almost started crying, because it means a lot to me when somebody can come up and tell me, "I don't see you for what you've been through. I see you as normal." For somebody to overlook everything and just tell me you are normal, it just means a lot to me. And for her to tell me that, for her to tell me we love you anyway and we see you as normal, you're normal to us, it made my heart swell. It meant a lot to me. And you know what? Yeah, I am different. I'm never gonna be like everybody else. But you know what? I'm as normal gets. And I'm never going to be exactly like everybody else. I'm going to be unique. I'm going to be different. I'm going to be my own person. And you know what? I'm learning that's okay. And that despite my scar, despite the way my back may not look as normal as everybody else's, I am still beautiful. I have a big heart. And that makes me beautiful. I'm beautiful on the inside, and I'm beautiful on the outside. And I guess sometimes that's just what I need to wake up and see, is that sure, you had a lot happen to you, and sure, you have a big scar on your back, and you may not look like everybody else, but you're still beautiful because you're unique, and you should be proud of that. And I guess that's just a message I want to convey to everybody else, because that's something that it took me time to see. It took me time to actually feel the confidence in my body and in my scar to be able to wear a backless dress, with the back wide open and all that good stuff. So I guess it's just a message I want to convey, is that it's okay to be different. And you're still beautiful. It's beautiful to be different. And I just feel like that's something people need to see. And I guess also it's good because it helped me realize my passion for writing. Because my mom, when I was younger, I told her and my dad, when I get older, I'm going to write a book about everything I'm going through. I want to write a book that way people know that they're not alone. Like there is things that you can do to get help. There are things to help you feel normal, I guess. And to basically write a book where I talk about my life, it might be able to actually help people. It will help educate them on what scoliosis is, bring up awareness for it, and help people if they're going through a similar situation. I will be able to help a lot of people through that, and I'll be able to inspire a lot of people. And I'll let other people who are scoliosis sufferers know you're not alone, and that you're still beautiful no matter what. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys part of my scar. Hopefully, if you guys don't if you guys don't like scars or anything, then just like don't look at this part. Okay. You see that? That's pretty much like what my scar looks like. I'm not going to show you my full back because I'm insecure about that, but I'm a little insecure, so I'm not going to do that. But you guys, if you could actually see that, you got to see a little bit of my scar. Yeah. So that's it, guys. I'm sorry this video is so long. It took me like an hour and a half before I was actually able to sit down and film this all the way. So, yeah, but I hope you guys enjoy it anyway. I'm sorry for crying on camera and getting really emotional and getting hard to understand, but thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed. And just remember, you're beautiful no matter what. Different is beautiful, and you shouldn't be ashamed of yourself or what you've gone through. And just remember, maybe give somebody a compliment today because you don't know what they're going through, and maybe that compliment will make their day. Maybe it'll make their week, their month, their year. You never know. So just compliment somebody today. Be nice to people. You don't know what they're going through. And remember, just don't worry about it, okay? You're beautiful. You're handsome. And you're perfect just the way you are. Okay, I love you guys. Thank you guys for listening, and this is why August 28th is such an important day to me, is because August 28th, 2013, I had my very last surgery on my spine. Okay, I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching. Bye.